Hello and welcome to your daily oracle reading for Friday, August 21st, 2020. I'm Linda the Lightworker. I'm a shamanic practitioner, excuse me, and I make these videos so that we can all stay on a purpose-driven path, living one day at a time, especially during this time of COVID when there are so many changes and so much uncertainty in our future. The trick is for us to stay in the present moment. So if you are here for the first time, thank you for being with us. I'm thrilled you're here. All the information about me and the tarot decks I use is down below in the diddly-do box. LindaTheLightWorker.com is my website, or you can email me directly, LindaTheLightWorker@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. All right, excuse me, I've got a little froggy in my throat. And I've been coughing it out, and it's just not, whatever, it's allergies. All right, so today I'm doing a general reading for all of us using this wonderful new tarot deck, the Gregory Scott Tarot. It should be released on the 22nd, I think. It's coming up. I actually think I'm not sure where it's going to be sold, but it's fantastic. Check it out. All the info is down below in the box. Okay, so our first card we have today is the Nine of Swords. Now, you know what I love about these images is that, like, everybody really gets this. These pictures are so spot on. So this is awakening from a nightmare. Like, holy cow, was that real? It's as if all these, look at how those swords are positioned over the head of the bed, like coming down. Maybe that's your nightmare of awakening and having all these swords show up and trying to kill you. But when we're dealing with the suit of swords, it's especially true about our mental state, and this might be especially true for anyone who is an air sign, and the air signs are Aquarian, Gemini, and Libra. So here's the good news. Thank God it was a dream. Thank goodness that wasn't real. You know, from many of my clients, I'm hearing these days that everyone is dreaming, or there are more dreaming cycles happening. People are tapping in to their dream time more than they did in the before times. And so, you know, we process our days or our events, and also our thoughts, our repetitive thoughts. So if you have a little, let's say a thought that's like a pebble in your shoe that's reoccurring, and you're aware of it, like every time you eat whatever, you think about how unhealthy it is for you, or if you smoke that cigarette or have a drink, whatever your trigger is, it's like that little pebble, like, you know, it's something you shouldn't be doing, right? And then you process it in the sleep time. And while we're in our sleep world, we could be processing our days. Maybe you had maybe your job has become very stressful. You know, I've heard, oh my gosh, I'm just giving you collective information from what I'm hearing from you guys, but many of you have taken pay cuts, or have taken a small percentage increase while doing a second person's job, right? And so you're processing all this in your nighttime, perhaps how you're being taken advantage of or being used, whatever your fears are that are coming up in your nightmares. All right, the good news is that you awoke from the dream. It's not your current reality. This is happening in your dream time and in our subconscious mind. Sometimes we get these little gnawing sort of things that gnaw at us. Maybe we don't even want to think about in the conscious daytime. So they can show up in a dreams, or a fear that you might have that you don't like to discuss. All right, our second card, we got two second cards today, and look at this. We got a pair of sixes. We have, first off, we have the Six of Swords. So this is you kind of being in murky waters again, in the mind's eye, like in our brain time. And look at how you have all these situations happening here. These look like little devils that you're trying to fight off, or demons, or my Tolkien fans, little orcs or something that are flying around. So this is about really hearing this is about indecision. Perhaps you're at a place where you need to make a decision, and you are feeling paralyzed or concerned or worried about this decision that you need to make. So this is you fighting off this, again, I think I used this before. We had the Six of Wands, the Swords here show up just the other day, of quagmire. That's what I really hear. And when we're in a quagmire, that means that we are overthinking. Perhaps we've gotten caught up into a story, an old story, right? An old demon story that you just engage in. This is like what I've been talking about, the ancestral healing with so many families, and those especially of more recent immigrant backgrounds, of the bad blood situation, right? Fighting off that murky, an old, how perhaps somebody thought of you, or it just triggers this combative response. Well, the partner that came up with it is the Six of Wands. So here's the invitation. While we have, listen, I'm not going to lie, it's an emotional time that's going on. People are we're feeling this on the, if it's not our own stuff, we're feeling it on the collective consciousness. And here we have the Six of Wands. Now he looks victorious, but what he really is the messenger, and new opportunities coming through, news, good news coming through. So this is about staying open to your news, staying open to your opportunities, staying open despite this. The wands, we're going to end with two wands. We started with two swords, and we're going to end with two wands. And these wands are all about that divine action and courage and perseverance, and keep going, even if it is hard. Keep going. And I'm seeing like a bicycle race, like the one that goes through the Pyrenees, the Tour de France, right? And can you imagine, like on day 22, feeling so exhausted, and you have 4 more days to go? I think they do it in July, not August, but whatever. That perseverance, you just got to keep going and hang steady, because there's going to be news. You know, part of the reason why you might be in this indecision is that it's not time for you to make a decision. It's not time for you to be connecting, or there's a piece missing. That's what I'm hearing. Hold steady, because that information is coming. And then our final tarot card today is the Two of Wands. Now look at her. Isn't she beautiful? And she is holding her world in her hands, and she's walking on this clearly lit path into the sunlight. I love how beautiful she is, with all this golden and red and orange, all these beautiful colors of her moving into the light, and her holding in her hand her world. And that's the real message. You are the key to what you manifest in your life. You hold your future in your hands. So if we focus on this, our scary thoughts, or feed the fears, it will be more of a challenge for us to step in to this choice. It's as if she has a choice, the free will. That's what I always go back. Some people ask me about how I feel about apples. Actually, nobody's ever asked me how I feel about apples. But I'll tell you, I don't like apples. I don't like apples because it takes away the power of choice in the Bible. Like they took that choice of that knowledge, right? That apple choice, when we came to a planet of free will. So it really is about being in free will. I know that sounded kind of jumbled. I'll talk about apples another time. It's not quite harvest season, but it's coming up. I'll get something good on apples. But really knowing that you hold that key right there in your hand. You literally, the world is in your hands. And any ideas or thoughts that you have right now about your future, you're going to be able to execute those. You're going to be able to manifest that. It's just staying open to the news, or when it's time for you, your personal news, when it's time for you to take that action. But remembering that you're in control. can help you slay some of those demons that might be popping up in your dream time. All right, our final card today comes from the Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron-Reid. I'm loving this deck. Info down below, diddly do. Okay, we have the number 25, and it says round and round. All right, okay. Spears all jabberjaw with this one. Round and round. Well, okay, this could be a symbolic sort of message about the Wheel of Fortune, right, and riding it. And some of you might be feeling like, how many times do I have to be on this ride of having these nightmares, or remembering I have to choose, and you know, the way we're not in the after times yet. We're still in the murky in between times, right? We're certainly not in the before times of the COVID. So it can feel like, oh God, here we go again, round and round in this circle we go. But I want to remind you that try and imagine this more as a DNA molecule, right? Which is a twisting sort of spiral like this. This looks like the spiral you might find in a shell or a seashell, right? And remember, as a part of your DNA, you know, where you're looking from is different than, you've come a long way. You're on a different part of your spiral. So you might feel as if you've taken steps backwards because of these fears or this nightmare that's coming up. Maybe you have a fear of, I don't know, whatever your nightmare is that's resurfacing again. I used to, you know, when I quit smoking, I used to have smoking dreams. I'm an excellent smoker. I was very good at it. And nicotine was always my number one addiction, always. And I would awaken years after I'd quit, awaken having had smoking dreams, and really thinking that awaken believing that I had been smoking in real life. It felt so real. I was terrified that I had smoked, but the reality was that I hadn't, and it wasn't a current reality in my dream state, and I was further along on my path. Although when I look back, all I can see is the spiral. So you're on a different point in your path. Everything is connected through that spiral energy. That spiral is that symbol, ancient Mesopotamia, old times. That spiral is an ancient symbol for how we grow and evolve. The eternal spiral. You could even think of our own galaxy, and our own universe in the sky is in a spiral. So just keep that in mind as you're plodding forward, working, because you know what? It's not going to be all scary. Things are working out. Sometimes we just forget it. And that's human nature. All right, my dear, that's our reading for today. Sounds like a pretty good Friday. Some excellent lessons for us. Paying attention to news, whatever news is for you. This could come from a conversation of, oh, did you hear this is something, you know, that sort of piece. Just stay open to how you're receiving your news. I am not talking about network news or television, or unless if that's your world, maybe that is your news. All right, my dear, that's our reading for today. If you are one of my new subscribers, thank you so much for being here. I mean, we are really growing this little channel, and I appreciate all your energy and love here. And remember, you know, things have been tricky. Go easy with yourself. Don't yell at yourself if you've had some scary thoughts. Just soothe yourself. Remember that positive self-talk, that healthy self-talk. You can do it. I know you can do it, and you know you can do it too. All right, my dear. I love you, and I look forward to seeing you next time.